Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast. It is the 25th of June. The Cubs will play the Giants later tonight. And this is not a repeat podcast. It just may sound like it. Because for the 17th time, the Cubs bullpen has blown a lead in an epic fail. And we're back here talking about it again. Over and over and over.
Rinse, repeat. Rinse, and repeat.
Rinse, repeat. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Delmendo, Joey running the ones and twos. We had a false alarm on the Canario call-up, according to Gary Ross. Thanks, Gary. Saw that.
Attention.
Tommy Birch first said Canario call-up. Now he's back in the Iowa lineup, so
Gary
we'll see
jumped
about that. Hey, first of all,
Tommy.
before we get into the recap of last night's disaster and looking ahead to tonight's game with Kyle Hendricks on the mound and all the things that go with it, and all the DFAs we're going to see in the live YouTube chat, which is the best way to enjoy the CHGO experience, we do want to remind everybody that now all that's left for Cubs fans is the fact that we can get in a party bus on Saturday, drive up to Milwaukee, the booze cruise, and we can ruin the lives for one day of people in Wisconsin. We can make them miserable for one day with our existence in their ballpark, and we can chat what Green Bay sucks. You want to chat that, Braggs? Or Braggs over the side. We can do all those fun things, even if the Cubs may be 10 games out in the division. We can ruin their day for one day. So make sure you go to allchgo.com and sign up for the trip. It's $99. The ticket's included. The booze is included. The party bus is included. The vibes are included.
I'm wearing a Bears jersey. Is that allowed?
You're going to wear
I'm going to wear a Bears jersey.
Wherever you want, Braggs. You're probably going to take it off at some point anyway.
Are they selling Caleb Williams jerseys?
We're just talking about this. Where are we starting the trip?
Almost home.
At almost home. That's the answer.
There you go.
Almost home. As if Cody hadn't had enough of Braggs hanging over him in the last a week and a half.
Credit to Braggs. He called me last night to bitch about PCA, and then PCA proceeded to hit a triple. And then that led to an even more, probably the second most painful part of last night's game. So, yeah.
Credit to me, guys. Veteran move.
But to sleep.
Steele came out.
And you went to sleep.
I went to bed.
There you go.
Because I knew it was over. One way or another, that game was over.
Yeah, with a 2-run lead. And a
Two
lead
on. I thought it was going to end there. Foolish me. Tyson Miller got the job done.
Yeah, a 2-run lead that probably should have been more like 5. You could kind of feel the inevitable coming. They have 17 blown saves, you said? That is second most in baseball right now. Only behind the Chicago White Sox with 21.
Good for them.
But barely ahead of the Tigers, who have 16, the Rays, who have 15, and then the Orioles, Marlins, and Pirates.
The amazing
all
part
have
is
14.
that those other two teams have had leads.
It's true, yeah.
But I mean, it's
a lot.
Do you want to blame the offense first? Do you want to talk about the bullpen first? Drew Smyly. How you feeling this morning, Cody? Because you stayed up and watched it.
Numb. Like, I don't. And I saw Gary in our Discord late last night, as like he's like demanding for some rant. Wait, you won't go watch yesterday's rant? It's the
Watch
same.
the recap. Cap was mad. He flipped off the Cubs
Watch
about
yesterday's
6 times.
rant. It's the same exact thing. It's an absolute joke. We're a joke of an organization. They're a joke of a franchise right now, and in general, for the most part. It's an absolute disgrace that the fans have been more right about anything that this organization has done over the last 5 years, I guess you could say.
What are those things again?
I
saw the tweet because you're right.
The fans have been more right, or have been right about everything that they've been concerned about at least over the last 2 years. But you can even argue the last 5 years if you want. And that is the fact they don't have a proven lockdown reliever, closer, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, Godfather
They don't
preaches
have
that
that
every day.
And Godfather, I saw your comment at the beginning, at the very top of the YouTube chat. We did not say that ALLCITY was a guy that was going to lead us to the promised land. We just thought going into the year it was fine, and that maybe they would go and trade for a big one if they're in it. Okay, so if you're going to criticize us, you at least get your facts right. Number two, the fact that they don't have an impact bat. a superstar caliber player. We've talked about that for
Talked about this since we launched.
That's true.
Since we launched it, they don't have that. That's been a massive concern. And you look at this roster, and we continue to sit here and say that there are that a lot of guys aren't playing to the capability of the back of their baseball card. But at the same time, they don't have an impact MVP caliber type player. They like Chris Bryant in 2016, Anthony Rizzo, even during some of those years before that, at least you knew he was the best player in the lineup, right? I go back to in the 2000s, Aramis Ramirez, Derek Lee. They don't have a guy like that. Cody Bellinger is the closest thing, and yes, he had a huge year last year on the Prove It deal. But if anyone who had any belief that he was going to be the same as last year with no real additions to the lineup with him, you're kidding yourself, man. And I'm someone who's a massive supporter, and I was counting down how many days it took for them to re-sign the guy, and I wanted him here because I think he's a good baseball player, and he was going to make the team better. Imagine this team without Cody Bellinger. Yes, has he underperformed? Has he not played to the $30 million he's making this year? Absolutely, he hasn't. But he's still arguably their best offensive player on the team. He still is one of the only few players on this team that knows how to hit with runners in scoring position, all right? But at the end of the day, he still hasn't performed to what you need him to perform at. But the point is that you don't have another impact back to go with that. What did we say all offseason? That they needed another bat to go with Cody Bellinger. You can't just bring back Cody Bellinger and do nothing else. And that is exactly what they did, except for trade for Michael Busch, who is a rookie who has been great for what we expected, but he is a rookie. He has not proven shit. All right?
Well, sorry, Will.
To close it out, the fact that you still have a massive hole at third base, and as someone who's probably the biggest Morel supporter out there, like this isn't slander to Christopher Morel. It's just the fact that you could have found out if he could play third base last season. You could have, you absolutely could have, and then you didn't. You played Nick Madrigal.
They didn't want to.
A shit ton.
That's what we talked about. They didn't want the previous regime, the previous managing didn't want.
All right, then maybe I should blame Craig Counsell for that. I don't really care. The point is that the fans have been right about the issue at third base, and they haven't fixed it since the moment they traded Chris Bryant, man. And even Chris Bryant wasn't playing third base at that point. Either way, since Chris Bryant, they haven't had a legit good enough third baseman to play every single day. All right. Yeah. The point is that
even when Chris Bryant was still here, they were playing him elsewhere. Like
that's because they did. And I just said that. Yeah. I'm just saying that they have not fixed that problem. And is Matt Shaw going to be that the guy that saves that position? Perhaps, but like you still went into the year with, hoping that he was going to progress the way that you wanted him to. Imagine if Matt Shaw got hurt in like April. Imagine if that collision that he just he just had over the weekend ended his season. Like this is the problem with the Cubs, is that they are banking so much on their young players / prospects to come up and just kind of take a role and run with it. And like, I understand you got to develop guys and you want to build from within, and the best teams in the league are built through their farm system. I understand it and I agree with it and I like that path. However, they are still the Chicago Cubs and they still can go and do both.
Well, I think that's
and I'm just that the point to finish it out, and then you can say everything that's going to probably contradict what I said.
No, I'm not even doing that.
Besides
the third base thing,
the point is that those three things that I just said, they've been issues for multiple years, and
4 years at least,
and they haven't done anything to really fix it. Yeah, I've talked myself into things working out. Yeah, I did talk myself into thinking that ALLCITY could at least be a solid guy in your ninth inning. After what he did last year, he had 20-plus saves last year. Did I think he was an elite lockdown closer? No, but he showed last year that he could be a closer. So I was okay with that. However, at the same time, they didn't add enough to the bullpen. You signed Hector Neris to be a setup man, and when ALLCITY goes down and Julian Merriweather goes down, you're forced to use Neris as a closer, and it's been a disaster. You're not being aggressive with some of young guys. The bullpen is so bad and so depleted injury-wise that we're using Drew Smyly and Colton Brewer to try to close out a game. Like, I just want someone who's going to go out there and that at the very least is going to have the least likelihood of causing chaos. All right? I'm not even mad.
Who is that? I also just not like, who is that?
the guys who have the highest velocity and the best stuff and is going to get the
but
most
those guys have
whiffs.
the highest walk rates.
I don't care. Do you want more
Tyson-
walks or do you want guys that are going to get swing
Tyson
miss?
Miller is their best
Yeah, absolutely.
bullpen arm
And
right now.
Gary actually is saying big of him to admit that. That one of his comments was like that.
He's admitted, yeah,
Tyson Miller.
Whatever.
That's
Whatever.
not a good sign, though.
It doesn't matter. Like, this is like me arguing apples and oranges. It's bullshit. None of it really matters. We're all gonna die someday anyway. Okay. The point is that they haven't that they didn't do enough to fix the bullpen. They're relying again on young guys. And again, I've said this before. Big of me to continue to admit that I'd rather them build their bullpen from within because pitching is expensive. But so if you spend your money like I thought they were going to in this era to on offense, and you're able to still build pitching through the starting rotation and your bullpen, great. But there's clearly not enough depth here because if they're not being aggressive with some of their own young guys, then they clearly don't feel like they're ready. But you came into the season trying to use 4, maybe 5 guys. Like, I'm sitting here saying that the bullpen's as bad as it is because Jordan Wicks and Ben Brown are hurt. Are you kidding me? Like, we didn't know what Ben Brown and Jordan Wicks are going to be. But that's how I feel right now.
They built a bullpen counting on guys that they overused the year before. Sure. And there's nothing more volatile than a bullpen.
Yeah.
In any sport, there is nothing more volatile than a bullpen. It could be hit or miss no matter what it is. And they counted on Merriweather, ALLCITY, guys like that. Guys that they overused last year.
Yeah.
You're setting them up. There's probably a 70 or 80% chance that 1, 2, or 3 of those guys have a horrible season this year because of how much you had to use them last year.
Yeah. Dan Kelly said he thinks Nair should be the closer, best of a number of bad options. So I think we've kind of come full circle. No, it's. I mean, I remember saying, I think actually when I was down in for the GM meetings, I think I'd said that, like, as far as closers go, like, being not that. I don't think we never said that Adbert Alzolay was some top tier closer, but he performed well enough that we said, like, you feel comfortable going into the season with him. And, like, you know, around, I think we had compared it to, like, the Chapman year.
He at least earned the opportunity based on last year.
But I think we compared it to the Chapman year, where it's like you can start the season with him. You should feel comfortable because he performed so well last year. And then whether performance doesn't go well or you just want to upgrade on it. No, or injury, that too. Or you just need to upgrade as a closer and you want to maybe move into a different, like, more higher leverage spot. Like, you hope that closer is available mid-season that you can go get, like what they did with Chapman in 2016, right? That was our whole point. Not that Adbert Alzolay is this lockdown closer that was going to save every single game he came out. None of us just expected him to be as bad as he was in April and I guess the beginning of May before he got hurt. Like, no one expected that.
Well, you can argue that he might have been hurt anyway.
Sure, I mean, that's possible, yeah. So, like, no one expected him to be...
Because he was overused.
Maybe.
Based on how well he did last year, no one expected him to just be... We didn't expect the downfall to come that fast.
No.
And, Ryan, that not only did they count on a bunch of relievers that they probably overused last year because they had to, they also counted on guys with a history of injury problems. Alzolay, Merriweather, right? They both have had long issues of injury. So when you use them that much, it was even more and more likely.
Yeah, well, and that's why the Hector Neris thing is more like he was a guy that was supposed to be relied on. Like, he's been a really good higher leverage reliever on multiple on playoff teams in Philly and in Houston. Like, he's been a guy that those teams have trusted to not close games, but to be reliable in that bullpen in higher leverage moments. And he just hasn't been like that with the Cubs. And that's another one where it's like, I still say like that, like, you know, because I don't like to operate in hindsight. Like, yeah, I would still do that move in the offseason because that was a sensible move to make. It just hasn't worked out.
All right, we're going to talk more about it in a second, but first, get ready to be the most stylish one in your crew this summer with Cuts. Most guys would wear a T-shirt every day of their lives if they could, like us. The problem is, most T-shirts not acceptable to wear at work or on a hot date. Today's sponsor, Cuts, has finally changed that. Cuts T-shirts are such high quality, wrinkle-free, and so buttery soft. You can look like you're dressing up even when you're dressing down. Yeah, you heard me. Wrinkle-free. For a limited time, you can save money on Michael Chandler's favorite clothing company by heading to Cuts, C-U-T-S, clothing.com and use the code CHGO for 20% off. Not only has Cuts completely changed the t-shirt game, they also have tons of simple yet sophisticated items. Their bottoms stretch to fit joggers look way better than your ugly khakis. Fashionable enough to wear to work or to your backyard barbecue. And the best part, Cuts clothing are built to last. Their durable construction means you'll be enjoying your favorite shirts and pants for years to come, making them a smart investment for your wardrobe. Embrace the summer state of mind with Cuts. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off their entire order when you use the code CHGO at checkout. That's 20% off your order at cutsclothing.com with the promo code CHGO. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Experience the perfect blend of style and comfort with Cuts clothing. And while you're having that backyard barbecue and you're wearing your Cuts and you're looking so good and so, what do they say, dapper?
Dapper,
Swag,
swaggy.
drip,
Sick drip.
sick drip.
Yep.
You want to be standing there with an ice cold Blue Moon in your hand. Some beers can say they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball just go together, and no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon, created at Coors Field in Denver. It's the natural choice all season long and all summer long, and we are having summertime shy. Even in the thunderstorms this morning, I thought, hand me a Blue Moon. After a Cubs loss, hand me a Blue Moon. Give me a Blue Moon to cool off out on one of these hot summer days. Nothing beats watching baseball or lounging by the pool with an ice-cold Blue Moon. Brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the season. A beer this good only comes around once in a Blue Moon, but you can enjoy it all summer and all season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO to see your delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Chef Penner in the live YouTube chat after the Cubs blow another one, this time 5-4 in San Francisco. They had a 4-2 lead in the ninth inning. Chef Penner's had some really good comments in the live YouTube chat. At the very beginning said, let me get this right, $230 million payroll, an unusable bullpen, and what do you have here? A last-place team. A last-place team, and it's not just a last-place team. It's a last-place team in arguably the worst division in all of baseball. That's why we had some unrealistic thought going into the season that the Cubs could compete in this division, possibly win this division, should win this division, because they're in a division with a Brewers team that lost two of the best starters in baseball, two of the best relievers in baseball, and arguably the guy that was the best manager in baseball, all at one time. And they are 9 games. You heard me right. 9 games ahead of the Cubs in the division. And the rest of the teams in the division are just a bunch of meh, yeah. All the same things. And the Cubs are right in the mix. They're behind all of it with a $230 million payroll. If it continues like this, somebody's got to answer, and it should be now. It should be now. Like, I understand why Cubs fans are so angry. I understand why Cap's throwing up the bird on his recap at night, because this shouldn't be happening to the Cubs. Like, this is a franchise that should be up there every single year, and they've done a 4-year rebuild. That now after 4 years, you're looking at this bullpen and going, okay, bring in Tyson Miller. I don't want anybody else coming in the game. That's why I went to bed, because I knew, even with Miller coming in, the best bullpen in there right now. And yeah, they've had injuries and yada, yada, yada. I knew the game was over, because I'd already seen 4 for 15 with runners in scoring position. I knew somehow, say had let a ball drop that he could have caught in the outfield, they'd find a way. The team, as I've heard lots of people say on sports radio, and this is 100% true, they're boring.
Yeah.
And when they're not boring, they're bad. That's a horrible combination
that's
right now.
what we talked about yesterday. They're just not a fun team to watch.
Oh.
Because even when they have the odd game, like was it Saturday when they won like 8-1 or whatever.
Yep.
Which that was like a good overall game, but like I think you felt like another, like you didn't feel like it was going to be consistent or last. But then they give themselves opportunities and don't take advantage of it. Like yesterday, what was it? I remember Bleacher Nation put it out there. It was like 4th inning, bases loaded, no outs. They got 1 run, and was that the Bush, the second baseman, just messing up the play. I think that was what it was. 5th inning, bases loaded, no outs. They got 2 runs. 6th inning, 1st and 3rd, no outs, and 2nd and 3rd with 1 out and got no runs. And that's
the ending. Yeah, it's the inning that PCA let off the inning with a triple.
Yeah, so that's 3 innings right there where they have multiple opportunities with guys in scoring position. Should have broken the game open, and that's what Counsell said last game. Like, they should have broken that game open. Didn't. And then you see
set it up for your bullpen.
Yeah, and that's what we keep, like, we can harp on the bullpen as much as we want. Like,
we do.
We do, and we knew the bullpen was an imperfect bullpen going into the season. That was.
But we also knew the lineup was imperfect as well.
But it was also like when you're talking about guys with track records or back of the baseball cards, whatever. Like it's more like so hard to see how these runners in scoring position issues have just lasted for weeks on, like almost 2 months now. When like that kind of stat is more like it'll even out over the course of a season. It's a little more luck and unpredictability or whatever. It's a little more like that than just like a general hitting. So it's just so hard to just understand how that is just not happening. How that hasn't like had any positive regression, because like they might do it one game, but then they fall back down to not being able to do it the next one and the next 2 and the next 3. And so like, yeah, the whole, again, we'll talk about the bullpen. We knew it was imperfect. We knew it was going to take a lot of. We knew this season it could not last through a whole summer of 1-run, 2-run games. We knew that because that was ultimately the downfall of the team last year, was having to use those high leverage guys so much because they couldn't blow teams out. They're still not doing it this year, and we're seeing the effects of it again, where they're 1-run, 2-run games for a bullpen that's not great, because they're giving themselves opportunities and not taking advantage of it, and they're doing that basically every game.
They've set themselves up for failure. I got a question for you, Cody. Tonight, they hand the ball to Kyle Hendricks, who dominated the Giants his last time, and he dominated the Giants in San Francisco last year. So on paper, the matchup says, oh, good. This is the perfect setup for Kyle Hendricks to do it again. So if you have to rank your order of confidence, who do you believe in more tonight? Kyle Hendricks, the bullpen, or the offense? Who do you have the most confidence in, and who do you have the least confidence in? The bullpen, the offense, and Kyle Hendricks.
Well, the Giants have TBD pitching tonight, so I guess the offense.
He's Cy Young.
I don't know.
TBD. Where do you see him tonight? He's amazing. The offense number 1, and then who's number 2?
TBD is also
Hendricks.
undefeated, though. TBD is also undefeated.
They never lose. So you're going offense, Kyle Hendricks, bullpen.
I guess.
I think I would go Kyle Hendricks, offense, bullpen, but that's also like choosing between asteroid, earthquake, world-changing flood. Like, none of them are good options.
Can I just have the meteor?
Meteor, you want the meteor or asteroid hitting the planet?
Yes. Just give it to us. Yes.
Total darkness.
Yes. I mean,
like alien invasion. Would you take that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alien invasion that were just baseball stops. Like, they come specifically to just stop baseball from happening.
I mean,
like, we're shutting this thing down.
Those are your 3 choices.
Realistically, I guess Hendricks should be number 1 because his starting pitching has been great all season. I know he's been bad, but this month he's been good.
That's what we said yesterday. Like,
and he's been good against this team.
He's giving you a little bit more belief or a little bit more confidence in him than
the scary part is that if Kyle is able to repeat what he did just a week ago against the same team, so now it's a little trickier, right? Because they just saw you. Even if he's able to repeat what he did and have another great performance against the Giants, I have little faith that the other 2 one of the other two will do enough to make it matter. That's the pattern they have. They can't get two of the three things to work on any single night. Like if you get good pitching like you did last night, the offense didn't do enough and the bullpen didn't do enough. Then you have a night where the starting pitcher doesn't, maybe Imanaga's not doing it. But again, you can't get the other two to pick it up.
I think you look at, whatever game they won against the Giants 7-6 last week. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I don't remember. But, they got good starting pitching, and the offense scored 7 runs. Probably should have scored more.
Yeah.
But they scored enough where when the bullpen gave up, I think, 4 runs.
Yeah.
They gave up 4 runs later in the game. They were able to withstand that because they got the good starting pitching, and then they scored enough runs to get, to put enough distance that the Giants scoring a few runs didn't matter. So that's what you're talking about is when you get 2 of the 3 at least working, you're giving yourself a better shot. But when the offense isn't doing enough, the bullpen.
Well, who comes in after Hendricks tonight? Even if he's good for 4 or 5 innings, who's coming in?
Yeah, I don't know anymore, man.
I don't even know who's healthy. Well, Mark Leiter Jr. is also down, obviously. I don't know if we talked about that.
You going to bring in Colton Brewer again? What was the deal last night? Is there anything more Cub, Cody, than intentionally walking a guy and then walking in the winning run the next guy?
Right.
Well, Zneski hasn't pitched since Friday. So there's a possibility right there. Hodge also hasn't pitched since Friday.
What were you going to say, Cody?
I'm at a point where I just want to see them use Hodge or a little more. We are at a point where it just all 3 of us are sitting here saying there's no good options. Well, you know what? You drafted Luke Little in the 4th round. You drafted Porter Hodge in the 13th round, and then you promoted him like he's one of your guys that you're really excited about to be part of your organization before. I don't care. Considering the injuries, considering the fact that you just put Mark Leiter Jr. back on the injured list, and you have no one of any reliability at all except for Tyson Miller, who you can't use every day because if you do, he's going to end up like Mark Leiter Jr. and end up on the IL as well. Just play guys that you have been pushing to the fans.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with you saying that. When I pushed back earlier, it was because you said you wanted guys with less chaos, and I said that's why I was like the guys with the 2 highest walk rates in the bullpen don't necessarily.
Well, Drew Smyly walked the guys in yesterday. What does it matter, man?
They're all
walking in.
That's all I pushed back.
I'd rather have chaos from my young guys than I would from Smyly.
But if you just want to see these guys that you're hopeful are going to be part of your bullpen long term and get some experience, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, well, that's where the state of the bullpen is, dude. That doesn't mean that I'm throwing the season, even though it feels like I basically should because we're 5 under and we're a freaking disaster.
9 games out of first. To forget the wild card thing.
Listen,
just look at the realistic outside view of what you are. You're in the worst division and you're in last place. You're 9 games back of first and you're 5 games under 500. Yeah, you're in the wild card race because half the league is average or bad, and half the league makes the postseason now. Right. But that shouldn't give you false hope.
Right. The only reason that I say that the wild card or whatever still matters is just because we've seen it the last 2 years. Just get in. Anything can happen, all right? And I know everything is shit right now, and I know that there is no hope, and I basically have lost all hope. But baseball is it doesn't make any sense, all right? So I'm not waving the white flag until we're 10 under. I said that a month and a half ago. I'm not waving the white flag until we're 10 under, all right? So with where the bullpen is at right now, with these injuries, I just don't understand why they aren't being a little bit more aggressive with some of these young guys. They'll do it with Hayden, which I appreciate, and we've seen him have in my opinion, a better year than last year. I know he's been giving up some homers of late, but I think if you look at his full season as a whole, he's been a little bit of a savior as well, especially whenever the starting rotation was injured, a lot of them.
Yeah,
right?
when he had to step in and move back and forth.
So I just don't know what other solution there is other than to just put some guys in a high leverage spot that maybe might not be used to it, and just see what happens, because it's better than putting, Neris in the 9th inning again and watching him walk another guy and then give up a bomb. It's interesting to me that they haven't been putting Neris in the 9th inning. I'm actually surprised they didn't put Neris in yesterday, but Colton Brewer, Drew Smyly, it doesn't make it any easier to watch.
You know what would make it easier to watch? Stopping at Sunnyside in the morning.
I'm sorry that I didn't read the ads.
Sunnyside. It's going to make you feel better about the whole thing. It's going to make your whole day brighter.
Oh, was Joey giving us an ad read sign? Because I thought he was telling you to steal third base.
No, that was the ad read sign.
Sorry.
I'm calling for the right-handed.
Sorry to our great partners at Sunnyside. You matter so much more than the Cubs bullpen. Our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary are here to elevate your summer. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from, with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. Stop in the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff, or select from quality lines like Cresco or FloraCal. Here for the summer is Good News Tea Time Disposable Vape, bringing classic lemonade flavor that's perfect for the golf course. Maybe you could give it a shot at our golf, the Kickoff Classic. Is that what we're calling it? I always forget. Cookout Classic. I don't know why I say Kickoff.
Talk a little bit more about.
Because we all need a little help staying loose. On the green, I'm picking up Mindy Siegel's award-winning chocolates at Sunnyside. I did yesterday, actually. I might do it again today, considering how the Cubs are making me feel. And you, too, can head there and get those by going to sunnyside.shop and use code HICHGO, CHGO, at checkout for 35% off. Brands like Cresco, Good News, and more to elevate your first purchase. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
And if you are in the market for a new car, are you in the market for a new car, Luke?
Not yet.
Not yet, but
I
soon,
might be.
right?
I paid my
Thinking
car
about-
off this month.
I'll be honest with
big
you. The
news.
minivan's
Yeah.
coming.
That's big news.
That's
Not
the only
afraid.
good news of the last week is I paid my car off.
That's a
Yeah,
milestone.
That's a big milestone. Now you should trade that and get a new one.
Yeah, and you should go trade it and get a new one.
Yeah.
Go to Chevy for your new Chevy. Make Ray Chevrolet your first draft pick. Visit our partner this June to shop their summer sales event going on all month long at Ray Chevy on Route 12 in Fox Lake and at raychevrolet.com. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Plus, find the perfect tailgate vehicle. Right now, get $12,000 off MSRP on a new 2024 Chevrolet Silverado, or at least the new 2024 Chevy Trax for only $179 a month for 24 months. Or cruise into June your own way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, then you've also heard of Ray's Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. That means the incredible prices we're talking about now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in-store or online. So shop the summer sales event all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Very nice. By the way, if you're thinking about, hey, maybe we'll wait for so-and-so to come back and save the bullpen, maybe Yancy Almonte, probably
Not so
time to move
fast.
him to that. Probably time to move him to the 60-day.
Not so fast.
Not so fast. Another setback.
Yeah, what was
Was not pain free in his
So
latest
disappointing
session.
because he was so good before he got hurt. Like
Yeah,
he had
he
emerged.
yeah.
He's a guy that I feel like they might have been able to fix the closer spot with him. I don't think he has any closer experience, but he could have been this year's ALLCITY in a way.
Yeah, well, he was this year's Merriweather, whereas like he had a couple bad, like one or two bad, or like mid to bad outings in like the first 4 or 5 times he appeared, and everyone's like, this guy sucks, DFA him. And then he, like you said, emerged and was like becoming one of those high leverage guys in the bullpen that you actually felt comfortable when he came in the game. And then May 7th is the last time he pitched.
Yep.
He hasn't pitched since. At this point, if he's not going to be back by, what would that be, July when did he go? When did he go on the IL officially? Retroactive to May 8th. So July 8th, I guess, would be or something like that would be the 60 days if he's not ready to go in the next 13 days or whatever that would
July
be.
July 8th isn't that far away.
Yeah, I mean, it would
at this point.
Yeah, you're closing in on that 60 days. It would probably just make sense to move him to the 60-day, but yeah, I don't know. I remember like he was going through the progressions for a while. Obviously, he started throwing live BP. Was set to throw live BP. He threw a live BP on last Tuesday, I believe, in South Bend. And like before that, Craig Counsell was talking about like that's going to be the next step was probably going to be rehab assignment. And then when we talked to Craig, the day after he threw the live BP was kind of like we're putting a hold on that. He's not going to go on a rehab assignment. We got to figure some things out. And then I guess we got an update from San Francisco yesterday.
Yeah, not pain-free in his latest outing.
So it sucks because he was going to be, like, again, like you said, he emerged. He was becoming a guy they trusted back there. Then he goes down. And you've kind of been waiting for a while to be like, when can they get this guy back and see if he can help stabilize the bullpen a little bit. And then you get this a tough update from for his rehabilitation for his progression back.
Don't count on him the rest of the season. I mean, if you're a fan, don't sit here and wait for Almonte to come back and save the season. You can say that about all the injured pitchers. Like it's a lot of times step forward, 2 steps back, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if Merriweather's coming back. I don't know if Almonte's coming back. I don't know if ALLCITY's coming back. Why would you count on that at this point?
It's not that I'm counting on him, but it's not a hot take or bold thing to say that the injuries in the bullpen haven't made an impact on why we're still seeing what we're seeing.
Yeah, they have.
Right? Like, I understand that out of all of them, there probably isn't a closer in there. As much as I love Palencia, as much as I love Ben Brown. Like, maybe Ben Brown is that guy. That was the one guy that I feel like we all agreed upon that could potentially be that guy.
Now he's hurt.
And now he's hurt. So, like, all I know is that if a handful of those guys weren't hurt, we wouldn't be saying that Tyson Miller is your best reliever, and they wouldn't have overused Mark Leiter Jr. either. And so, like, all those injuries have just been a domino effect to the rest of the bullpen. And again, I don't know if they still don't blow 17 saves, but you probably don't have as many leads that you give away or games that you give away. I would say that much. I don't think that they would, if they didn't have this many injuries in the bullpen, I don't think they give away as many games as they've had. But
fair. I just say they counted heavily on several guys that had A, histories of injuries, and B, were used heavily last year and counted on heavily last year, which sometimes is a pretty good recipe for your cake is going to turn out poorly when you go to bake it this summer. And if you're counting on, you mentioned Shaw, right? We're like, boy, they haven't found that answer at third base, and they didn't try Morel. All true. Like, why aren't they trying Morel? And yep, Ross didn't want to do it, and now you found out that he can't play third base. So we still don't have a third base answer, and they didn't address that in free agency. And okay, maybe Shaw is the white knight riding in, and you hope he can play third base, even though defense isn't necessarily what he will hang his hat on in his major league career. It's his bat, right?
Yeah.
So then he has a horrible collision. Of all things, turns out he's okay.
Yeah.
Turns out he's okay, but that was just another thing, another Cubby occurrence where you look at it and go, listen, I don't know if he's coming up to save. I don't think he's coming up to save the team, but he might be coming up at some point this season. Can we not have him get injured? Could that at least the storyline of 2024 be Shaw didn't get hurt? Could that be our positive thing? Because that's where it's at. Like,
Shaw didn't get hurt.
Yeah. What was the best thing that happened in 2024? Shaw didn't get hurt.
No.
That would be a good
I'm
thing.
at a point.
At that point, yeah.
I'm at a point where I just want this season to give us an idea of who we should be excited about for the future outside of just looking at prospect rankings. Like, one of my biggest frustrations, and I've said this so many times, is just the fact that they aren't being aggressive with some of their young guys. They haven't been all across the board. And I know some of them are hurt. Like Cade Horton getting hurt, it's brutal because the timing of it couldn't have been worse. And I don't know if some of these guys are ready, but if you're not going to be more aggressive in the offseason on the trade market or in free agency, why are you not being more aggressive with your number 2 farm system in all baseball? Like, we're stuck in the mud as a fan base. That's what it feels like. We're stuck in the mud, and the only reason I feel like that is because I don't know what the front office is thinking. If guys aren't ready, and you knew that they weren't going to be ready, and you knew that you had these flaws on this roster, whether it's at third base, whether it's because your bullpen is kind of patched together, and you don't have an impact bat, like a superstar bat, then use what you built. And they're not. Like, you call up Canario, and I think he's gotten a little bit more of a leash this year, and he's, there's pros and cons to him for sure. He strikes out way too much, in my opinion. And I don't know how I feel about him. PCA, I'll give you credit there. You're giving him a full shot, and the defense is there, but the bat it's taking its time to get there. I don't know if we'll get there this year. And Bush has been the guy that you for sure have been like, we're playing this guy every day, and great. But like, whether it's pitchers, whether it's some of your higher end prospects, like. I just feel empty about it. Like, we're going to be going into 2025 still with these same questions, unless they call up some guys, whether it's later in the year when we're out of it, if that happens.
No. What? But this is why I think they should be happening now. This is why I think Canario should be here now. This is why PCA should be here now. If you're going to be aggressive with Shaw, get him here now. The healthy guys that you think you can fast track and be aggressive with, because right now you're going to get way more evaluation and advancement in their careers by playing them now, when you still think the games are meaningful and you're in something, than you are if you just call them up with a couple in September and the games mean nothing and they're playing with just for themselves, and that. Because they're empty innings.
But I think
then it might as well be a AAA game, because you're playing teams that are just throwing anybody out. They're bringing up their AAA guys.
If you're doing that, then you're pretty much saying those games don't mean anything. If you're bringing them up and playing them every day.
But at least you can look at that prospect and say, we're only 2 out in the wild card. We need you to come up and play hard and do this. Like, at least hang a carrot over their head. And if you bring them up in September and you're 16 games behind the Brewers, they can look at it and go, we're not playing. We're in 6 back in the wild card. You're playing, and other teams by then, the Pirates and the Reds and the other teams you'll be playing, they're all calling up their prospects too. What's the difference? You're basically playing AAA teams again anyway.
Yeah. I don't like. The thing is I don't disagree with you.
2 aggressive moves here now.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're looking at Shaw, right? Like, Shaw clearly isn't like. Don't want to say clearly. Like, clearly they're thinking, like, he's not ready to come up to the big leagues yet. Maybe he's like later in the summer.
Was he Southern League Player of the Week? Is that what I saw?
Yeah. But he's still a guy that he had to go through his adjustment period. And I think he's come out of it, but like he's still in Tennessee doing all that. Like Owen Casey, where they're at is like, I think a lot of it would come down to like, is he gonna have the opportunity to play every day? Which especially like in the outfield, which I do think they still see him as like he could potentially still be an outfielder at the major league level. Would he have a position to play every day, or is he gonna have the DH? I think that plays into the calculus for a guy like Owen Casey. I'm not like saying this to disagree with you. I'm just saying it like from the other point of view is like, are they better off having these guys in the big leagues not playing every day right now, or giving them a little bit more run over the summer to really just kind of nail down that they're ready?
What's really better for the future? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Because like I said,
I could argue that 1 or 2 of them coming up now and actually getting that real taste for some players ends up being better.
That's what I'm saying. But then you're throwing in the towel on the season, right? Like at that point, because that's what it is.
No, because if they come up and succeed, I get that from them.
That's a huge if, because you're talking about guys that have never played at the major league level.
At least they're feeling like they're playing at it. Mentally, me personally, the season's gone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like from your point of view,
my perspective, I want the players to think they're still in it, and that I'm looking for a boost from them.
Yeah, that's just what I'm asking. Like from your point of view, like
in my head, if I'm Jed Hoyer, I should be thinking, okay, the only way to save my job is to really have some of these prospects give the fan base the hope, give the players the hope, give them the progress in their movement, and hope that it's like last year when they called up Mervis. I don't think they really believed Mervis could. But you might as well put him in early when you can really see what he's got, unless you're afraid to impact somebody's trade value. But you've told us this is a quality farm system, so let's see it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you're saying. And I was saying realistically, I don't see them calling up Shaw or Casey or any of them until like August.
I don't either.
Realistically, and I said that at the beginning of the year, so that's all I was saying.
Yeah.
However, to your point, the fact that or even Casey, like we're at a point where like you're not getting the offense and you have problems at third base, like. I'm not saying to do it to save the season. It's just something different, and it might
boring.
It might spark the team. That's all I'm saying.
I don't
have full belief that it would, but it's like what everyone feels right now. It's like every day is insanity, And
it's the same story every day, pretty much. Unless it's they're down so much early in the ninth inning, they make a rally and then come up short. Then that's the only other time it changes.
I'm just trying to come up with ways to make it interesting to watch this team right now, because now I know how every game's going to play out.
Yeah, one of the two ways at that point. Yeah, no, and like I said, like I'm not like necessarily completely like saying you're just wrong. I'm saying if the Cubs are going to do that, then Jed Hoyer's throwing it. He's legitimately throwing in the towel on the season if they're just going to call up all these young guys and play them every day. Like that's basically what he'd be saying, and I don't expect him to do that.
He doesn't usually do it.
At least not like right now. Maybe in August. Maybe
they don't have lines for this, but if they did, it would be on Circa Sportsbook, Cody. This is where he'd be able to do the wagering on, will the Cubs make a bold move? They don't have that's not something you can gamble on, but
yeah.
If there were a place to do it, Circa would be the place.
I had a parlay last night.
Oh, yeah?
And
tell me more.
It sums up being a Cubs fan right now because I had Justin Steele under 5.5 hits allowed, and the last hit he allowed was the ball that Seiya didn't catch, and that was the sixth hit that he allowed. So what a brutal beat, but I did have him over on strikeouts. So I finished the night even. And, it's better to finish even than down. So I had that. You know what I mean?
At least you had that.
At least I had that. All thanks to Circa. They got tight money line splits. Cubs were favorites last night. I would expect them to be favorites again tonight in some weird, disgusting way. But, hey, Vegas knows more than me. The game strive to be a -110 split on their menu, unlike other sportsbooks, which may use -115 or -120 splits. They keep as little money as possible on large market bets, especially compared to other books. They don't limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players, and they encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available to compare the lines from each sportsbook. There are real people behind their brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion as well, because they don't use chatbots. All aspects of their app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. They're with us for every Cubs Friday 120 club. And if you or someone you may know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, text GAMB to 833-234, or visit areyourreallywinning.com.
Do you think Circa would put lines out for our CHGO softball games?
We'd be heavy favorites for every game.
Defending champions.
The integrity of the game is to a question with Carmen in charge of it all.
It's true.
You know, it'd be too easy to flip and flop a bad lineup out there and just not be able to trust it. I tell you one thing I am looking forward to is the Cookout Classic, the big golf outing coming up here next month. I got my buddy. He's going to go. High school buddy of mine, pretty good golfer. My son's going to go, pretty good golfer. Me, terrible golfer. I haven't decided if I'm going to maybe slide Joey in as potentially our fourth, because I've also seen Joey's not a good golfer. Steven over there, the now producer of the Bears, he's a big shot. You know,
he's a suit now.
The Bears. He left the White Sox. He does the Bears now. He's been trying, from what I hear, trying to form a super team. To try and
form a super team.
It's formed. It's done. See, he's been going around.
It.
He was after that collapse. He called Rory and was like, "Listen, man, I got a tournament you can play in that I think you could win this one.
Well,
even with your failures, this is one you could win, Rory." I don't know who the other guys are, but a rumor is it's Steven, Rory, and two other guys.
He's going to be on a vengeance after that choke job he had.
Yeah, he's going to – well, he just promised him a spot on the Bears show, and they were like,
yeah, and he said, "Listen, if we blow it, you're not going to have to do any interviews because there won't be any other media there." And Rory was like, "I'm in on that. I could do that." Little tune-up. Anyways, I would like, certain people take this tournament loosely, Cookout Classic, very seriously. I don't. I like to just go have fun. But Steven's he's very competitive. He still likes to compare push-ups and whatnot. And
I'd like to just go and drive the cart around for a while. I think Cody's
Cart
on board
driver?
with that.
Yeah, I didn't get to go last year because they made me go to Circa.
yeah,
They
Vegas.
made you.
forced to go to Circa.
They did
and
force me to
soak in
go.
the pool.
Force against
Soak
your
in
will
the-
to go to Las Vegas.
Cody was
did.
forced to soak himself in a pool in Las Vegas and watch sports and gamble.
Yeah,
I watched
in Las
Moriano
Vegas.
win like $1,200 on the roulette table.
At Circa. There you
Yeah,
go.
at Circa. Yeah.
Have you noticed, by the way, that Cody's wearing a lot more tank tops? You've been hitting the gym, right? Like, is that what it is? I noticed the other day he cut his sleeves off a shirt. A good Friday 120 shirt.
I
freaking
did
hot,
notice
dude?
that.
Trying to
I
show
did
off the
notice that.
pythons a little bit more this
It's
summer,
hot.
aren't you? Yeah.
It was hot this
It's
week.
mainly because it's hot.
It was very hot this
But
week.
also, if there's anything the Cubs have done for me, it's these tank tops are given away in the bleachers
Pretty
every
nice.
Friday this summer.
I found out I didn't fit in the schmedium, by the way.
So
You're just straight medium at this point.
They only had medium or extra large. I'm like, all right, I'll try the medium. Turns out I'm not a medium. So we got the Cookout Classic tickets for that for ALLCHGO.com. And don't forget, again, the road trip. That's what's going to save the rest of the season for us. At least we can go up to Milwaukee and ruin some cheesehead's day by being a group of Cubs fans, sometimes obnoxious Cubs fans. Heckle Bernie.
yeah,
Maybe we can get Luke in the sausage race.
No, that happened once, and I nearly died, and it was a miserable experience. Yeah.
Maybe we can get you go down the slide.
I was having chest pains afterwards, and I finished last.
What about the slide? Could you do on the slide?
I'd do the slide, but I don't think they'd let me do the slide.
Didn't someone get hurt going down the slide recently?
They've
the last
had
couple
reporters
years?
go down the slide before.
in recent years.
I think a reporter got hurt going down the slide.
In a
I'm trying
recent
to think
year,
if Kelly
yeah.
Crow went down the slide. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Anyway, in terms of how I feel going into tonight,
Yeah. Are you going to stay up for the whole game?
yeah, because I'm stupid, and I'm sick. I have a problem, but yeah, I'm gonna watch the game, and yeah, I mean, what we're 5 under. This is the furthest they this isn't the first time they've been 5 under. But if they lose tonight, they'll be 6 under. That'll be the worst record for the season for them. I don't know. We've been negative the entire show. If you want me to have some optimism, you still have 3 more games in this series. The Giants, they're not good, man. You just gave them the game last night. The thing that we haven't really talked about a ton in this podcast is like we mentioned it, but the inning where PCA led off the inning with the triple, and then you were unable to get more runs. And it wasn't the only inning, but that was probably the most annoying one because you led off the inning with a triple. You actually got an extra base hit, and then you did nothing with it, right? They should have easily had 7 or 8 runs. So they had the winning formula in terms of how they started innings and they just couldn't complete them. And you had a great starting. You had a great outing from Justin Steele. The fact that we have barely mentioned Justin Steele's name in this podcast is honestly we should apologize.
What is he like? 14 straight starts without a win.
Yeah,
Something
that's
like
not, and almost none of them are his fault.
none of them are his fault, except for
0-3
maybe
this
those
year?
ones against the Pirates. But like, he deserves so much better.
Yeah,
man.
I tweeted out the stat yesterday. Let me find it. It was
14 starts without a win. The
over
team
his
winning.
over his last 6 starts. He's got a 1.38 ERA. He's gone at least 6 innings 5 times and at least 7 innings 3 times. I think he in those 6, he's given up 2 earned runs twice, 1 earned run twice, and 0 earned runs twice. Never more. And the Cubs are 2-4 in those 6 starts. Steele is 0-1.
Yeah,
They're 2-9 on the year with him. When he's in games he starts, and he doesn't have a win yet.
it's
DJ, right? You have to see it.
It's an absolute
meaning.
disgrace, man. It's an absolute disgrace. Like on the Cubs offense, the Cubs bullpen. He deserves so much better. He's putting together back-to-back seasons of being one of the elite pitchers in the game, in my opinion. And he's not someone who throws upper 90s fastballs. He's a very unique pitcher. The only complaint I have about him within the last 24 hours is in post game a few times he's smiling, and I'm just like, dude, we just blew the game. Like, can you just give the fans something? Like, and that's honestly like, and I know they're never gonna do this because at this point I'm not gonna expect it. But like him and Dansby Swanson made me want to punch my TV last night. It's like Dansby saying the same thing over and over. I have belief we're gonna get this together. Well, like I just want someone to yell. I want someone to say it through the media. Like even Joe Girardi said it on Marquee last night. Like just give us something. Like stop being fake. Just tell us how you feel. Like
We need Toronto to come out and say we stinks.
How can Justin Steele in post game flash a few smiles after the performances that he's been given this team, and the Cubs continuously do not follow through by winning the game for him, man? Like
I wouldn't call it fake. I don't expect guys to bash their teammates. Like I don't expect guys to bash their teammates to the publicly to the media. Like I think that stuff comes more in like they have to talk about it in-house, like in the clubhouse.
I'm not even asking them to bash their teammates or call one particular player out. I'm just saying, like, instead of telling us the same thing that you've been telling us for 2 months, like, oh, I believe we're going to get this together. Like, just say we stinks right now. Like give us a Carlos Zambrano. We suck right now, and we have to play better. Like, I'm just so exhausted from hearing the same thing over and over. And Ryan, like, as the guy that it's in the clubhouse every day for every home game, like, aren't you have to be a little exhausted from hearing the same thing over and over as well, man? Like, all I'm asking is just something different. Like, it from a fan perspective, it just feels like they don't care.
What am I, a dragon? What kind of baseball you play?
So I know I tried to go a little positive to end the show, but like I tried.
Get distracted by the bad team.
Yeah.
All right, we'll watch them again tonight, see what happens. And after the game, no post-game show, but a lot of times for the diehards,
yes.
Hey, diehards, sign up in the Discord.
We did call a rain check on that yesterday.
Yeah.
Because of the way that game ended.
Yeah.
Brad Beatty said that he would do it, but he would go full Cody, and I said, you know what, we can hold that off for the night.
Right.
Now, but so
tomorrow
tonight will be
tonight will be Discord. Tomorrow, game 3 of the series, we will do a live post-game show.
Right after the
So
game.
we're not going to do a 1:20 tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's going to be right after the game. No matter how late it is, we'll be up there. Could be midnight, could be 1 a.m., could be depressing, but we'll be there for your therapy session. Until then, thanks for watching the CHGO Cubs podcast. Don't forget, go to allchgo.com. Make sure you get those tickets for the road trip to Milwaukee. And until tonight's Discord therapy session, fly the W.